Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. Today I am going to be dyeing Mark's hair again. He's got roots now, so we're gonna put a crazy colour on it just to mix things up and hopefully he will feel better. As in, he won't be better, he will just feel better about the colour of his hair. We're going to chat a little bit about the IVF situation because there's been lots of things in the news about fertility clinics opening up again and what's going on and how we're feeling about it, so I just want to touch on that a little bit as well. So yeah, keep watching and hopefully you'll get a laugh out of it. Can you just come closer for the viewers to see your roots, please? So, I mean, they're not major, and actually in this light, you can't really tell. Let me turn the light off. It probably looks worse in this light.
I'm rocking the dog look on at the moment.
Yeah, you know when your dog's wet and you can just see like the skin underneath if you've got a white dog, like we have. Okay. So we found some Bleach London colours in our cupboard in the bathroom from, like, obviously me. So we are going to literally just mix them all together and put it on, and it'll be what colour it will be. Well, who knows what colour this is going to go. Hopefully that colour. Are you happy with this colour?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, why not?
So while we're doing this, I just wanted to talk a little bit about the announcement that came out on Friday with regards to the fertility clinics being allowed to reopen. Matt Hancock came out on Friday in the announcement and said that fertility clinics were allowed to apply to reopen. The HFEA have brought out some guidelines, which the HFEA are the governing body for IVF almost, so they set the rules with what all IVF clinics have to abide by, and that's NHS and private. In my understanding, they're allowed to apply from the 11th, yeah?
Yeah. Okay.
And they have to fill in a criteria or meet the criteria before they can open, and the HFEA themselves will review it.
Yeah, I think it's up to them to allow if all the conditions have been met, which I think there's about 4.
Yeah, I think so. It's just to make sure everyone's safe, like the staff are safe, we're going to be safe going in there. This has gone blue already. If it looks crap, you're going to have to shine your head.
Oh no! It's alright. You know what, I'm prepared for that. Sort of, potentially. As
far as I'm aware, with regards to the IVF clinics reopening, is that the private hospitals are going to be moving so much faster than the NHS clinics, just because I feel they've got a personal gain to get from it, because obviously they're going to get money in, they're not government funded. Even though some private clinics offer NHS treatment, you know, I still think that the private clinics have a invested interest in getting back sooner than the NHS do, because obviously it's easy for the NHS just to redistribute their staff amongst different departments where they need the nurses if they are needed on the front line during the COVID pandemic. So to me, my hospital, our hospital, the Birmingham Women's Hospital, is going to take a little bit longer to get back.
We're not saying that like all private clinics don't care about the health.
No, of course not.
I think they'll take everything into consideration, but I think there's more motivation for them to get back to serving people. I think our situation, when you first hear about it, the problem is we struggled with the statement, didn't we, originally? It was confusing.
They said the words, you can apply to reopen from, but to me, was it like you can apply to reopen
on the 11th?
On the 11th, and your doors can open on the 11th, or you can only apply from the 11th to open sometime in the future. And it was like quite confusing for a lot of people. You know, I'm on social media, on Instagram and stuff, more than Twitter, and I had so many messages from people also saying they were unsure about where they stood, because none of us had heard from our hospitals at this time. Yeah, it was quite confusing. So we're obviously at Birmingham Women's Hospital, which you'll know if you've watched any of our other videos. I tried to phone them on Monday, so now Thursday. What date is it? 7th. It's the 7th of May today. I tried to phone them on Monday and they pretty much just played dumb almost. They were like, yeah, I don't know where you're getting your information from. We aren't opening, we're not open. She never said we're not opening, she just said we're not open. She didn't kind of acknowledge the fact that the announcement had been made. I was like, I just want to know if you've got any plans like to reopen or any plans in place to get the ball rolling. And she just was like, yeah, no, if we're gonna say anything, we'll get in touch with you directly or it'll be on the website, which to me just felt a little bit dismissive. You know, I was only asking questions. With my treatment being cancelled, obviously so close to my transfer, I feel like I've got a really invested interest. I mean, I know everybody has, but my treatment was cancelled a week away from it ending. You know, I would have been out of their hair, they wouldn't have had to deal with me, they wouldn't have had me on the phone, in my opinion. But can you see this?
Yeah.
You look like, what's that character who's got blue hair? Like,
Sonic.
That's Sonic. Like, looking like a cartoon character. No, I know. Look a human. So we're kind of left in the unknown now, which...
We were before though.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, we don't know anything new. I've been getting a lot of messages, obviously, from girls that are at private clinics like Create and Care. They've already started putting things in place. They've already started booking people in for next week. I've spoken to people that have got dates, and it's like annoying for me.
Would you say that?
I'm not annoyed like at them. I'm just annoyed at our hospital not moving quickly.
But would you say that with the smaller clinics, where they are potentially smaller buildings, it's easier for them to control
100%.
the situation?
So a lot of the private clinics, you know, they're standalone buildings on probably a business park, and they're going to be able to control their environment so much better than the big hospitals. You know, we're part of you know, if you're going to go to A&E in a hospital, essentially that's what, we're in a big NHS hospital. You have to see that many people, you have to walk through different departments to get to the fertility department in our hospital. You know, and I don't know whether they're taking into consideration like how you're going to get there and how to park and, you know, the risk factors in those sorts of things as well. So yeah, it's a tough one because I kind of let it take over my life for the other day, and I did it was kind of taking over me. I couldn't control it and I had no answers, and it wasn't getting any better by what I was finding out. How do you feel about it?
I think, like any part of this journey, you get a little bit of news. You know, at any point in the past, we hear things and we get really invested and thinking, oh, it's going to happen soon, or when do you think it's going to happen?
Yeah, you start thinking dates again, don't you?
Yeah, and you fully get back into the swing of things. I think it's difficult to not, and I think it's important to actually think about the future, because whilst you are protecting yourself by not thinking about it emotionally, I think you don't want to just forget about it. You know, the fact that you know, you did that ITV News thing and
yeah,
sort of forced the issue is the reason why part of the reason why it's back on the table.
Yeah.
So I think sitting back and not doing anything for you especially is just not an option. But
no.
I think you have your days where you'll talk about it and you have your days where you don't want to talk about it, and I think that's okay. Yeah, for me, I'm not expecting anything. I'm trying my best to like not expect there to be an answer anytime soon.
It's hard to think that way, isn't it though?
It is. I'm not thinking negatively, but I'm also not. I'm trying my best not to expect. I don't have a set date in my mind. I'm not going.
Yeah,
right.
as soon as they kind of brought out the 11th, they said the 11th, everyone was like, oh, the 11th, I'm going to get an appointment that week or whatever.
Yeah.
And the chances are, for people like me, I probably won't get an appointment till June.
But then you're putting June on the table, and,
I know.
and you don't know. You just don't know.
I know, but it still feels far enough away for me to manage my expectations.
Yeah, I think it's good to have expectations, but I think that in reality, we can't even begin to think of a date until our clinic gets passed, because they've got to get passed first before they can even think about getting people back in.
Yeah.
Because why would they even look at getting people back in if they legally can't? So hopefully, this is the only thing we can hope for right now, is that they're doing everything they can to
put the right protocols in place for this to get back there safely.
Yeah, and then hopefully they get passed off.
Well,
if it's not safe to go there, then I don't want to go there.
No, of course. You know, we want it to be the right thing for us all to do. We've heard that the HFEA, when a clinic submits this massive form thing they've got to fill in to get passed off, we've heard the turnaround on that is going to be 5 days. Again, HFEA are saying a lot of things, but at the end of the day, it's down to the individual clinic whether they decide to apply at all, whether they decide to apply on the first day. Because, you know, there's going to be a lot of small clinics that apply on the first day just to get open by the following week, by the 17th, 18th. Are they going to get passed at all? And if they're not choosing to do that because they don't feel they can meet the criteria, then they're going to be further down the line. So at the end of the day, yes, the HFEA and the government have allowed clinics to reopen if they think it's right for them. It is the clinic's choice at the end of the day, and that's what I'm finding hard to come to terms with, because of the way they said it on the news, and I didn't really think about it at the time, is the fact that they were like, yes, they can reopen, and yeah, they can if they want to and if it's safe to. So for a lot of us, that might only be half the clinics in the country allowed to open. And even still, if they do open, how do you know you're going to be in the first wave of people going back? You know, you could go, yeah, my clinic's open, but my appointment isn't until November, because of the amount, you know, the way they're going to structure it going back. You know, because they're not going to be able to see as many people as there was before, because of the way the waiting rooms are going to have to be socially distanced and spaced out, and obviously to keep the staff safe. Another thing the HFEA have said is that a lot of their equipment is being distributed, if they are NHS, you know, to be used in other departments of the hospital where it's more important right now, while the clinics are not in use. And the same with their staff. So if they haven't got the right staff and their equipment back, they can't apply or they can't open yet. So it's a tough one, because you know that you want to go back as soon as possible, because we're all selfish in the fact that it's my life, this is me, I want this for me. But the clinics are not allowing you to, even though the government and the HFEA says you can. So it's kind of like, you know, like when you were little and you'd like, your mum would say no, and you'd go and ask your grandparents or your dad or your auntie instead. Yeah. So it's like them saying yes and then being stopped by your parent halfway down the line and going, actually no, you can't do that. So that's kind of what it's like.
It's nice that it's on the table.
It's nice that it's on the table again, and I'm really proud to be part of the group of people that have pushed for this to happen. We might have a transfer this year, who knows, but I'm still hopeful. I'm still hopeful that it's going to happen for us. It's just not going to be as soon as we had thought, but you know, we've used this time to
dye my hair.
Dye Mark's hair twice. Mine's like completely gone now, back to blonde. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it's going to happen for us. It's just a how long's a piece of string game again, because infertility essentially is just a massive waiting game.
Yeah, it is. It feels that way for us as well. Like, if you get close and then it gets taken away. I think the hard thing is that we were, I know we talk about it, but we were really close, and then now we're waiting for a clinic to reopen, and it's a matter of like weeks from when they, so that what is it?
HFEA.
The HFEA, they're saying that if they're practicing social distancing, it's now safe to resume treatment, and that comes sort of 8 weeks after we got a call to say we couldn't have treatment. And it's just frustrating to think that if they could have done social distancing back then, we potentially could have had our transfer.
This is my beef about it.
But you know,
I'm not going to keep going over this whole ground. It's just the fact
a
that
wonderful thing. You know, I think they were.
I know they did the best that they thought was the best in the situation, but I think they were hasty in their action, in my personal opinion. But You know, they've now got they could have probably finished an extra however many thousands of people over all the clinics if they would have just not been so hasty.
The problem is though,
but now they've got all those people at the front of a queue behind another 10,000 people.
I agree, but those 1,000 people, there's, I don't know, 3 of them could have died.
Yeah. And you're thinking about it as a bigger picture, and that's the best way to look at it, because you have to think
those people are still alive, or say they get it, don't die, but they pass it on to somebody else, they die. Those people are alive now because of that decision, and that's the only way I can be okay with it.
Yeah. Or that the nurses have been able to be used to save someone's life.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's one of them, innit? It's how selfishly you think about it, and if you're a good person like Mark and you think about it a bit more as a bigger picture, which is what I try to do every now and again, but then every now and again I'm thinking, well, they're going back, and you think about yourself when you do, because if we were at a private clinic, we would have had our appointment by now.
It's hard to think about someone else's hardship before your own. It's really hard for anyone.
Well, yeah, you think about yourself first, that's just the way it is. But another thing I was going to say is, on top of this, if I was to go back as one of the first wave of people, eventually, whenever that is, my FET, my frozen embryo transfer cycle, is determined on my period and when my period starts.
This is such a point.
So, yeah, I could have an appointment on the 20th of May, but if I've not started my period, or if I've just started my period and then I've got to wait for the next one, that could be another 3 months away, my cycles.
What is a really important thing to say as well is that during this last part of the FET cycle, you had to have a pro-stap injection, which shut down all your hormones.
Yeah.
You then took estrogen tablets. Then a week before the transfer, we were told not to take those tablets because it's all cancelled. But the effects that's had on your body,
still in my body.
You haven't,
It's been 2 months and I've not had a period because of these drugs. The side effects of the estrogen coming off that was absolutely horrific. Like, probably worse than the stims itself.
Really?
Flush wise, like, I was so hot all the time. I wasn't hormonal as such, but I was more like my temperature would go up and down. Like, I'd be just sitting there and be like, I'm boiling, get everything off me, I'm sweating, and it would just like rise. It was awful.
You suffered with was it headaches?
I did have headaches, yeah, as well, but it's So that's another annoying thing, is the fact that I'm irregular. So when we are given a date, it doesn't mean it's the date, because it depends on me. And I think that's going to be the case for a lot of people in IVF, because you're allowed to start on day 1 or day 7 or day 21 or whatever.
But I wouldn't say that you were completely irregular. It was the fact that you just had longer cycles.
Yeah,
but I know, but what I'm saying to you now is that the kicker is that you had all those drugs
and it's made my cycles
and
worse.
It's now made them worse.
Yeah.
And that's annoying, because I wouldn't say that they weren't,
they were between like 35 and 40 days.
Yeah.
35 and 45 days.
Yeah, which I know, but like you could almost plan kind of roughly, like within reason, whereas now you're back in the dark completely. You don't know when it's going to happen.
This is what I felt like when we were kind of starting.
Yeah.
And when it was like, we can't start the stims until I start my period, so we'll phone them when we get my period, and it's like, oh, when is it going to start? When is it going to start? But now it's like, FET, my pro-stap, would be on day 21. So I am kind of hoping that if things kick off and I've not had a period still, that it will kind of fall in line for me to have my pro-stap relatively soon after they reopen. Whether that actually happens or not is another thing, but yeah, that's kind of how we're feeling. Have you got any summary comments?
I don't know about like summary comments, but like, I think what you were talking about before, where you were saying that with the stims you were waiting for it to start. And then even with the FET, like you were waiting for your period to come.
It's the same. It's all a waiting game.
It is a massive waiting game, and I think that the problem is you try and put dates in your head. You look at what the HFE.
Yeah.
What is it?
HFEA.
Why can't I say that? HFEA.
You've listened to me say it a million times.
I know, but you say it like so confidently and fast. I'm like, Hafair.
Yeah, it is Hafair, isn't it, really?
Yeah. Yeah. So they have said obviously, you know, this 11th of May. You put that date in your mind, and then you're then trying to plot your cycle around that. It's the problem is that whilst I know that they're doing their best to like pass out information and you know be in touch with people like us, which is really great, it's also dangerous because I think a lot of women out there and men will be plotting their cycles or plotting their lives based on that date and thinking, well,
that's
when is it going to
IVF.
happen for me? I know, it's very difficult.
And now it's even worse. It's like, oh, the planning of IVF plus that, oh, will my clinic be open? Won't my clinic be open? Will my clinic let me have an appointment?
Yeah, we all thought IVF was, or infertility in general was hard enough, and then this is like added another level to it for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that the best thing that we can do is try our best to be hopeful, but focus on not when am I going to have my transfer, because there are so many other things that will happen before that. I think the best thing for us is to focus on is when will our hospital open?
When will we hear from them?
Yeah, and I think, you know what, I think it's within our right to actually phone them and ask, are they trying to reopen? Which I know we tried to ask and they shut us down.
Yeah, I might phone the nurse and see what she says. But
I think asking, are they trying? Because you might not get the answer of, the question maybe that you ask shouldn't be, when are you going to open? Because they don't know. I think the best question to ask is, are you applying to reopen?
Yeah, I need to like write a list. But that's where we're at the moment. I just wanted to give you all an update whilst doing this. So we'll come back when this has been washed off, but that is the end of the IVF chat for now. Hope it's been useful. I hope, you know, if you're going through exactly the same as us right now, wherever you are in the world, I hope that you get back on track as soon as possible, and I'm sure we will all get there in the end. I hope so. So, what do you think?
I think we're good. I think we're good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think. There we go. Slide it back. Woo!
We fixed it. It's fine.
Yeah, it's blue. I think it's like, for me, it definitely. It doesn't. I know you can still see roots, but it doesn't.
It doesn't look as bad.
No, they're not opposites of colours. Like going from brown to blue is a lot better than yellowy blonde.
We will tell ourselves that.
Yes.
Thank you for watching, everyone, and we'll see you on the next one.